Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the next session on Java programming language. So, in the previous 2 or 3 sessions, we have studied about some basics in Java programming language. Especially, we have seen about the inheritance and different types of inheritances. And at the same time, we have seen about polymorphism and the two different types of polymorphism. So, in today's session, we are going to cover the topic called as constructors. And in today's topic, we are going to see about what is a constructor and what is the use of these constructors in object-oriented programming languages, and what are the different characteristics of constructors. And then we are going to see about the different types of constructors and some of the applications with constructors. So let us summarize what the things we are going to see: the definition, characteristics, types, and then some applications along with some examples on constructors. So let us start the class with the definition of a constructor. In Java programming language, not in Java, in any object-oriented programming language, a constructor is called as a special method. So we know methods and we know how to define a method. And similar to the methods, constructor is also a special type of method whose name is same as class name. So here, in order to say it as a constructor, the one condition is that the name of the method should be same as the class name. And let us see the purpose of using these constructors in programming languages is that it is used to initialize the instance variables of a class, right? So if the name of the method is same as class name, then it is called as a constructor. And these constructors are used in the program in order to initialize the instance variables which are present inside the class. So let us see parallelly, let us see how we can do this. So this is the program where we have stopped in the last class. I'm going to take a new Java program, and let us assume the name of this class is some P, and inside the class, if I want to define a method, I will define a method similar to this one, right? So these are the four parts of a method. So let us see what are the four parts of method. See here. So this is the return type of a method, right? And M is the name of a method, and then the things which are in these braces are called as parameters of the method, right? And then the things from this particular point to this particular point is called as body of the method. So any method in any programming language will contains four parts. The name of the four parts are: the first one is the return type, name of the method, parameters of the method, and then body of the method. So in order to make this particular method as a constructor, as we seen in this PowerPoint presentation, a Java constructor is a special method, right, whose name is same as class name. So if we try to change this name as a class name, then it will become a special method which can be called as a constructor. But there are some properties for the constructor. I will show you in the slide, right? So now if the name of the class and name of the method both are same, then this method can be called as a constructor. So let us go into the some characteristics of the constructors. And here So see the characteristics. The first one is an interface cannot have the constructor. So you don't know how to define an interface because till now we don't cover the topic of interfaces. We just know the name of interface. Um, we just went through the definition of interfaces while dealing with multiple inheritance. So the multiple inheritance is not directly possible, but it is possible up to some extent by using the concept called as interfaces, right? Apart from that, we don't know about the interfaces. So keep this one in your mind. We cannot define a constructor inside an interface. So if there is an interface, inside that interface, we cannot define a constructor, right? And then we all know that there are three access specifiers: public, private, and protected, right? So we cannot define a constructor with private keyword. We can have a public constructor or we can have a protected constructor, but we cannot have private constructor. So it is not possible to use private keyword along with the constructor, right? So let us see here. Let us see in the program. So here the name of the class is same as method name. So here we can have public, right? Or we can have protected, right? We can have public or protected, but we cannot use, right? But we cannot use private here, right? Next one. A constructor can be abstract, static, final, or synchronized. So here, these are the different keywords in Java programming language, right? Abstract is the keyword which is used to declare abstract methods. Static is the keyword which is used to bring all the contents directly into the RAM. Final is the keyword which can be used in three ways. When final keyword is used along with the variables, then the variables will become constants. If the final keyword is used along with the methods, then method overriding is not possible. When the final keyword is used along with the classes, then we cannot inherit that particular class. So I will explain the use of this final keyword in the next classes. Keep these 3 points in your mind. Final keyword can be used along with the variables, along with the methods, and along with the classes. If the final keyword is used along with the variables, then the variables will become constant. So no one can change the value of that variable throughout the program. And then when we use this final keyword along with the methods, then we cannot override that method. So if you want to prevent the method overriding in a class, we can define that method with final keyword so that no one can override that method in the future classes of the program. And then, and similar to this, if we use the final keyword along with the class definition, then we cannot inherit that particular class, right? So keep these 3 points in your mind, and I will explain these three with some proof examples in the coming classes, right? And keep this one also in your mind, abstract. So when we are dealing with the abstract classes, you will get understand about this abstract keyword. And you all know about the static keyword. We have used the static keyword along with the main method, that is public static void main string args, right? There the static keyword will bring all the contents of that particular method into the RAM directly. And then synchronized keyword, this keyword will be studied during the threads concept, right? So just remember these all keywords. So a constructor, these all keywords cannot be used with the constructor. We cannot use abstract keyword along with the constructor. We cannot use static keyword along with the constructor, or we cannot use final keyword or synchronized keyword along with the constructor, right? So these keywords are not cannot be used with the constructor. If you use these keywords along with the constructor, then it will raise a compile time method, right? And then next one, constructors can be overloaded. So we all know what is method overloading. Same program, same class, same method name with different parameter profile is called as method overloading. Similar to that one, here we can also overload constructors, and I will show in the next slides and how to overload a constructor with the use of an example, right? Next one, constructors cannot return a value. So it is very important. So previously we have discussed about a method contains four parts. Let us go there. A method contains four parts, right? I have already explained this one. It is called as return type, right? Return type, and then name of the method, and then parameters of the method, and it is called as body of the method. The things which are in between the opening and closing curly braces are called a body of the method. So here, what this return type will specify in the sense, it says that the particular thing is going to be written by the method after execution. So if the method is going to return nothing, then we have to mention that method as void. So void specifies that the following method will not return anything. So here, one important point we have seen the slide. The point is that constructors do not have return type. Is the point. Constructors do not have return type, not even void. So even it is not legal to use void along with the constructor definition. So here the first condition is that the class name should be same as method name, and the second condition is that constructors do not have this return type. Even we are not allowed to use even void also, right? So there should be no return type. Now we can say a constructor is of three parts. That is the name of the constructor, parameters of the constructor, and then body of the constructor. A method is having the four parts. Along with these three, it will have one more part called as return type. But unfortunately, constructors are going to return nothing. That is why we are not allowed to maintain any return type for the constructors. Right? Next one. See the next character. An abstract class can have the constructor. So I will explain what is an abstract class and what that abstract class will contain, and what are the properties of abstract class, and what is the use of abstract class. And I think the abstract class topic will be covered in unit number 3 or unit number 4. I will cover there is abstract class. So inside an abstract class also, we can have a constructor. Right? Inside the abstract class also, we can have a constructor. And then constructor name must be similar to that of the class name inside which it resides. So wherever there is a constructor, the name of the constructor should be same as class name. Right? Next one. One important point. Constructors are automatically called when an object is created. So here when we are dealing with the methods, right, when we are dealing with the methods, if you want to call a method, we have to call it explicitly. But in case of constructors, they will be executed automatically. There is no need to call the constructor again. They will be executed automatically when an object is created. For example, I will explain it with an example. So here there is a class P, and when inside the P we have a special method. We can call it as a constructor because the name of the class is same as the method name, and at the same time it does not have any return type, right? So this particular constructor is going to print, right? This particular constructor is going to print Java on the output screen. Java on the output screen. And at the same time, we have a method. So we all know that the method is having the four parts: void, and the name of the method is m. So void m, and this m is going to print, and this particular m is going to print something called as C++, right? So when we call this constructor, it will print Java on the output screen, and when we call this method, it will print C++ on the output screen. So let us see here. So what I am trying to do is I am going to write a main method of Java, public static void main, right? Public static void main string args, right? So inside this main method, I want to bring these contents into the RAM. In order to bring those contents into the RAM, what I have to do is I have to create an object for obj equal to UP. I have to create an object for class P. So I just created an object for class P. I did nothing. So the main method lies in class P. So save this program as capital P dot Java. Save this program as capital P dot Java. Now compile the program. Yeah, there are no errors, and then run the program. So if I run the program, something has been printed on the output screen, that is Java. So when will this Java will be printed? So whenever the constructor is executed, then it will print Java on the output screen. But unfortunately, if you observe here, Java is printed on the output screen. So if we have created an object, right? If we have created an object, this object will execute the constructor which was present in that particular class. So constructors will get executed automatically whenever we create an object of that particular class. So here P is a constructor inside class P. So if we want to execute this constructor, just we need to create an object of that constructor. So if we create an object, then the constructor will get executed automatically. Then what to do if we want to print C++ on the output screen? So if we want to print the C++ on the output screen, then we have to execute the method m. So this method m is present in class P, and obj is the object of class P. Then in order to execute that method m, we need to make a call to the compiler to execute that particular method m. So here methods will be executed by calling them explicitly. Constructors will be executed automatically when we make a when we create an object of that particular class. So that is the last point what we have seen in the PPT. So you can observe the output here. So now, so the result of this particular line is Java, and the result of this next line is C++. Okay. See here. So the last point is that constructors are executed automatically when an object is created, right? And next one. So these are the some of the differences between a constructor and a method, right? See that this one, a constructor must not have a return type. So it does. Constructors do not have a return type, but a method will have return type, or if the method is return nothing, at least we have to mention void while declaring a method. And then constructors are invoked implicitly. That means they will be executed automatically when we create an object of that particular class. But these methods will not executed automatically. We have to call these methods explicitly. We have to make use of object, and then by the use of this object, by the use of that object, we have to call that method explicitly. Next one. Java compiler provides a default constructor if you don't have any constructor in a class. So I will explain this point in the next slide. So here, see the main two differences. Constructors do not have return type, methods will have return type. Constructors will be executed automatically, methods will be executed manually. We have to execute the methods. And then see the last one, the constructor name must be same as class name, and here the method name may or may not be same as class name, right? These three are the main differences, right? And next, go to the next, let us go to the next slide. See, there are two different types of constructors in Java, right? Not only Java, in any object-oriented programming languages. We can define there are two types of constructors. Name of the first type of constructor is called as default constructor, and the name of the second type of constructors is called as parameterized constructors. So there are two types of constructors, default constructors, and the second one is parameterized constructors, right? So let us see what is a default constructor and how it can be used in the program, and what is a parameterized constructor, and what are the things we can do with these parameterized constructors in the program, right? Default constructor. So any constructor, we all know, till now we are very confident about constructors. We know if the name of the method and the name of the class is same, if it does not have any return type, then it is called as constructor, right? So if any constructor with no arguments is called as default constructor, or the other name for the default constructor is no argument constructor. See here, previously I explained about the 4 parts of a method and the 3 parts of a constructor, right? So in the 3 parts of a constructor, the first part is name of the constructor, the second part is parameters of the constructor, sorry, second part is parameters of the constructor, and third part is body of the constructor. So here in the second part, if there are 0 parameters or if there are no parameters, then the type of constructor is called as no argument constructor, or it can also be called as default constructor. See here, if we observe P, the 3 parts of the P are, this one is the name, and these are the parameters, and it is the body of the constructor. So if you observe these parameters, there are 0 number of parameters. So then we can say this P is a default constructor. So here we have seen in the definition, if there are 0 parameters or no parameters, then it is called as a default constructor or no argument constructor. For example, if there is a parameter called as int a, then it is not a default constructor. Then it is not a default constructor. It is a parameterized constructor which contains one integer parameter. So if you want to make it as a default constructor, then you should maintain 0 number of parameters for the constructor, right? So now in this class P, this P is a default constructor because it does not contain any parameters. And the other name of this default constructor is no argument constructor. Next one. Very, very important point. This point will be asked in many number of interviews. Let us see this point. We can have a .java file without default constructor, but we cannot have a .class file without a default constructor. Not default. We can strike off this one and study the point again. We can have a .java file without a constructor, but we cannot have a dot class file without constructor. So let us come to some clarity. What do you mean by a dot Java file and a dot class file? So here, when we wrote a program and we write a program, see here, just a second. So I am going to save this code. I'm going to save this code as something called as p.java. So I'm going to save this code. Okay, I'm going to save this code here. Capital P.java. So see here, the program is saved in the documents. You can see here. So it is the program what we have saved so far. So if you observe the extension, it is having .java at the end. So let us see what will happen if we compile this particular program. So see here, till now we have only p.java. You can observe from the starting point, we have only p.java and there is no other file with the class name p. Now if I compile this code, see here, if it is successfully compiled, one file is added at the bottom. You can see here, I'm going to delete this again. Going to delete this one again, and I'm going to try to compile the program again. You can see here. So if I compile the program, see here, one file is added where the extension of that file is dot class, right? So now we have two files. One is dot Java and the second one is dot class, right? So let us come to the point. See here. So we can have a dot Java file without constructor, not default, without constructor, and at the same time we cannot have a dot class file without constructor. So here dot Java file means the file what we have written. So this all this code will be in the dot Java file. When all this code is get compiled, this particular code will be converted into some byte code, and the byte code was present in this dot class file. So here, if you have a constructor inside this class, that constructor will be converted into byte code. And if you don't have any default constructor inside this class, Java compiler will add a default constructor and then it will compiles the program. So see here, the meaning of that particular point is, so in this program, I have a default constructor, right? If I don't have this thing, then what the Java compiler will do is, when we try to compile the program, Java compiler will add a default constructor with 0 parameters and 0 statements, and then it will compile this particular .java file, right? So if you have a constructor, then it will be converted into bytecode. If you don't have a constructor in your program, then Java compiler is going to add a default constructor and then it is going to be compiled. So that is the meaning of this point. So we can have a .java file without a constructor. The meaning of this one is we may or may not have a constructor inside our program, but when it is compiled, it is going to be converted into .class file. That .class file must and should contain a compiler. So if you write it, it will be compiled. If you don't write a constructor inside your program, then Java compiler will going to add a constructor with 0 parameters and 0 statements. Right? Let us see the next one. So here, default constructor, see here, most of the people say default constructor is a 0 argument and 0 statement constructor. See here, as I said earlier, if we don't write any constructor inside a class, then Java compiler is going to add a constructor which is called as default constructor, and this default constructor is a 0 parameters and 0 statements. For example, it is the name of the constructor and these are the parameters. If you observe the parameters, there are 0 parameters, and at the same time it is the body of the constructor which is having 0 statements. So here he is the name and there are parameters, 0 parameters and 0 statements. But the fact is that a constructor is a the default constructor, it is a 0 argument but not 0 statement. See here, it may be 0 argument but not 0 statement, which means there is something inside this body of the default constructor. So what will be there inside the body of the default constructor? See here, every constructor will have super keyword as its first statement inside the body of the constructor. So every constructor will have some keyword as a first statement inside the body of the constructor. So which means, so if we define it or not, these particular lines will be added to the compiler. According to that, there will be one keyword also added by the compiler as a first statement. Right? So that is the meaning of this one. See here, in the previous slide, in the previous couple of slides, we have seen that if our Java file is having a constructor or not, our .class file, we have a constructor. Because if we write, it will be compiled. If we don't write, it will be added and then compiled. And in the next slide, we have seen about the default constructor is a 0 argument and 0 statement. But the fact is that it is 0 argument. There will be no arguments for that constructor, but it is not a 0 statement, which means there is something in between these two braces. There is something in between these two braces. The thing between these two braces is, see the next slide. Every constructor will have a super keyword as its first statement inside the body of the constructor. If we mention it or not, so if we mention it or not, it will be the first keyword inside the constructor. So if you write the super keyword, then it will be okay. If you don't write the super keyword inside the constructor, then compiler is going to add the super keyword as a first statement to your constructor. For example, previously you have written something called as system.out.println Java, right? There you don't mention any super keyword, but after compilation or during the compilation, if you write super keyword in the constructor, it is okay. if you don't write the super keyword in your constructor, Java compiler is going to add super keyword as a first statement of your constructor. So see here, if we mention it or not, every constructor will have a super keyword as its first statement inside the body of the constructor. So if you mention it, similar to the constructor, if you mention super keyword inside the constructor, it will be compiled. If you don't mention the super keyword inside the constructor, it will be added by the compiler and then it will get compiled, right? See the next one. So the next point is what we have to do if we want to use the super keyword inside the constructor. So if you want to mention the super keyword inside the constructor, then it should be the first statement inside the body of the constructor. So which means, so if you want to mention the super keyword, it should be the first statement inside the constructor. So if you want to mention the super keyword as a last statement or in the middle of the statements, then you are going to get a compile time error. So if I compiled it, you can see here, this Java compiler is showing an error that call of super must be the first statement inside the constructor, right? If I made it as a first statement inside the constructor, then the program will be successfully compiled, right? If you don't mention the super keyword, the compiler will going to add a super keyword as a first statement inside the constructor P, and then it is going to be compiled. That is why in both the cases we are not getting any errors, right? So okay, we will continue it in the last class. We will continue in the next class. So till now we have seen about the definition of a constructor and some of the characteristics of constructor, and I am going to explain the definition and some of the characteristics in the next class, and hope you all understand the topic. And if you have any doubts regarding this session, you can just text me or you can make a comments in the video of YouTube. And I really thank each and everyone for being here.